Okay, what I've decided to do on this model is only plank the upper part of the hull, from the cap rails down to the bottom of the whales right here. And you can see, here's the upper part of the whales running right along here. Okay, now I wanted to give this hull kind of an open look all along the bottom, and this really nice gold colored band, which is the color of this pear wood. And I use this pear wood because it is extremely flexible. Here, let me show you. Here's a plank of it right here. Now watch. See how flexible it is? So it makes really excellent planking. You could even twist it like that. So it'll take extreme twisting and bending. I could almost bend it around. See, like that. So that's why I used pear wood for my outside planking. So now let me go ahead and take you through the steps that I did to get this planking on here. And over here at the stern, see, I ran the planking a little bit longer, so now I'm going to cut it off and then sand it smooth with my transom. So, okay, let's go ahead now and put this planking on. Okay, here's what I did. Is I took these waterways right here and I bent them around the stern. You can see it right here. Now how I did that was I took the ends of these and I soaked them in hot water for about a half an hour, and then I took them and I bent them around the stovepipe on my wood burning stove, because that was really quite hot. And then I took them and I bent them around my bow and clamped it in place, and I let that set overnight until the wood dried. So now I could take these off of here, and as you can see, it held its shape just like that. So now I can go ahead and reposition these things and glue them in place permanently. Okay, what I've done now is I've bent the waterway, and I've also bent these two planks here for the inside of the bulwarks, and I've installed them. As you can see, they run from the stem all along the inside here and all the way back to the transom, and I've done that on both sides. You can see here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand down these frames even with this top plank. This one here, this is my small 4-inch disc sander, and I have a bigger one. I got a 6-inch disc sander, and that's what I used to take the top of these frames down. Okay, with an 80 grit disc on there, it just took those right down even. Unfortunately, as we're looking down, you see what happened? I took a gouge right out of my bulwark right there. So now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this one section of planking out of here and replace that nick I made. Well, now I'm going to have to take this plank off of the side here. So let me zoom out. Well, actually, yeah, let me zoom out. Now it's very easy to take these planks off. What I'm using is a scalpel here, okay? And I'm looking for a spot. Okay, here's the spot. I don't know if you could see it. See that little gap in there? That's all I need to start to pull this plank off. So I'm going to put this gap in there, put my blade in there, and pry it. Okay, Now see each gap, it's getting more and more. There it goes. Okay, see how it pops off? It's not bad. Okay, let's zoom in closer yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just actually cut the seam, and it gives me a little bit of gap on the next one. I'm going to cut that seam. Okay, see it's pulling away? There we go. All right, almost. There we are. And it's off. See, I got a little bit of cleanup here to do, you know, with some glue residue. But other than that, it popped right off of there. So now let me clean this up and replace the plank. Before I do any planking on the outside of this hull, I have to go in here and I have to cut down the hull or sand it down, because the top of these frames have to be 100 thousandths wide. Okay, so as we go up here at the bow, you can see some of these are too wide, and you go back here at the stern, these right here, these are really way too wide. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've made myself a bunch of little sticks, and these sticks are 100 thousandths thick, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place them in here between these frames like this. Okay, and I'm going to glue them in there. So when I sand along the top of these frames, when I get even with these little sticks in between, these little filler pieces, then I'll know I have 100 thousandths all the way from stem to stern. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in place right now. Okay, you can see here the unsanded area, and you can see here where I've sanded it now. See, it's maintaining a nice even thickness all along the top of my frames. Okay, you see it right there? Now, as I sand these, what it's doing is, you can see this right here. See right here? It's leaving a edge, because all I'm doing is sanding the very top of the frames along here. So now what I'm going to do is I have to go back and just kind of feather this edge down right here. Okay, so you can see it's some more of it here, see? So once I've gotten this to the correct thickness, then I'm going to go along the hull and I'm going to take this and feather this edge down right along there. Okay, let me continue doing this. See, there you can see it there, and there you can see it undone. Alright, now you can see I have all of my frames cut down, even with the inside planking, all along the hull here. Okay, you can see it on this side. Everything is nice and flat. I have a very nicely smooth shear running the length of the hull. Okay, now if we turn this hull on the side, you can see I have everything with a nice even thickness all along the hull. And if we turn it more, now everything has been blended and sanded from the top of the frame all the way down to the keel. So this hull is now ready for outside planking. Now the reason I finished this hull like this out of the jig was because, let's take a look here. You see, when you have a hull in the jig, you really can't tell what this line is. See right here? You can only see it from the top looking down. So in a jig, it's blocked by the jig, and it's blocked by all of these extensions here. See, this line right here along the hall is somewhere around this level inside the jig. So there's no way you can get the thickness of those frames exactly even all along the hall. So that's why once the hall is cut out of the jig, that's when you give it its final shape and its final finish like we see here. So that's it. We're done now. So let's go ahead and move on to our next phase of planking the outside of this hall. So we'll start that now.